Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. It's December 20th, 2023, and it's a perfect day to go out and get the height and caliper of the bur oak trees. May have noticed how nice and clean it is in here. I'm about to start work again on the wood shop here, get this wood on the walls, but today we're going to do some measuring. What I have here is a driveway marker, and it's 6 feet tall. So if I hold this up at the top of the tree, I can just measure from the point to the ground and add the two together, and we have the height. They're a little too tall to just use a tape measure this year. This may be the last year we do this, but probably not. At least calipering. I'm sure we'll caliper them for years to come. But as far as the height goes, I don't know. And we're pushing the limits of this caliper as well. I was going to get a bigger caliper last year, but I never did, and I forgot all about it this year. So we're stuck with this, and I'll just write them down as we go. And we got the pencil, and we're off to the races. Okay, here's tree number 1. This has always been a beautiful tree, and it still is. Look at that trunk. Getting a nice trunk on it. I'm guessing that these didn't get a huge amount in height this year because they got so wide, but I don't know, I might be mistaken. This thing looks like it's at least 12 feet tall, but I think some of them over there were taller than that. All right, let's get a height and a caliper on this. All right, I got a huge gust of wind. Hopefully that'll stop. The height is 12 foot 2 inches, and the caliper at 2 feet off the ground is 4 inches. I'll put last year's measurements on the screen for you to compare, and we'll move on to number 2. Okay, tree number 2. Give you a better look at it. Another very well-formed tree. It is 8.5 feet tall and has a 3-inch trunk at 2 feet, which is right about in here. Beautiful tree. I'm going to come along and do a little bit of pruning, but I decided not to do that today. I just got way too much stuff to carry. But something like this, where you got a crossing branch, all that's going to do is rub. You can see the deer bit it off right here. So I can either cut it right there, but I don't know if I want a sucker going straight up. Yeah, I'll probably cut it back to here and just use this new growth as the growth. I'm not going to do a whole heck of a lot of pruning. I did a couple last year, and I probably won't do more than 3 or 4 prunings this year either. Yeah, I don't see much else. It's got crossing stuff, but it's not a fruit tree, and I'm not going to worry about it a whole lot unless we get a bunch of rubbing. I don't want the rubbing because I don't want open wounds on the tree in the summer where they're going to get disease. All right, on to the next one, number 3. And number 3, I cut the top off because it kind of hung way the heck over and was really sickly. So I just cut it off, and that's the way it grew. Give you a look at this from a little further back. This is the one right by the hydrant up here. And I actually really like the growth pattern on this one with that weird swoop like that. This is where the top was. The scar is completely gone. So now the tree just does that up and over like that. Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting tree as it grows. I really like that. Okay, 8'4", that's 100 inches, and 2 3/4, and we got a lot of branches right at 2 feet, but I got it in there. 2 3/4 inches. Okay, this tree right here had the deer smashed a whole big branch off. All of this stuff right here is from that damage. They really screwed it up. Yeah, I don't know how well this tree's gonna do. It'll survive, no problem. It can use another branch. If this top dies, it can use another branch, but that's really unfortunate. This is the deer run right here, so that's bound to happen. All right, and that one is 6'9" and 1.5 inches at the 2 foot mark. I got a couple of these done because the neighbor came out and was just like sitting there in his truck for a long time, so I just went and got a few measured. This one right here, number 5, is 8'9", and it's 2 7/8 at the 2 foot mark. A lot beefier tree than that one. This has stuff going on all over the place. If this was a fruit tree, I would definitely prune it. It's got all kinds of crossing branches and stuff. But again, I think I'm just going to leave this. I don't see anything that needs immediate attention. And this is a really nice full tree. Getting pretty wide too. I've never measured the width, but from the main trunk out to here, we probably got approaching 3 feet right there. But some of these are over 4 feet. Okay, and then this next one. This is the one. What the heck happened to that? I think, oh, I cut it back. I cut it right back to ground because it was really sickly and it had some sprouts coming up out of the ground. So I cut it back, what was that, 2 years ago? Or possibly 3. Yeah, this is probably only 2 years growth, so that probably happened 3 years ago. So this one is 8'3". In whatever 2 years, it was just a tiny little twig when I cut it back. So all of this growth happened since then. 8'3" and 1 1/4 inch diameter, right about there. This is one of those trees where it's got all this little stuff coming off of the trunk and not a whole lot of branches. There's several like this. The most distinct one is the one closest to the wood shop, which we'll see in just a bit. All right, now we got to get back to measuring. I don't think I did any measuring of the ones in this field last year, but we'll get a measurement on the rabbit ravaged one. That one's right over there. A rabbit had bitten it down to nothing at the beginning of, or over the winter, and I did just like I did on this one. I chose one of the resprouts and cut all the other resprouts out, and the new one from this year, I believe it's about 7 feet tall. Okay, this is number 7. Hey! Okay, got another nicely shaped tree. It's got this branch right here that kind of goes back in on itself. Again, I would normally prune that off, and I may prune that off. Nothing good's going to happen of that. I mean, you got a branch right here, branches here. This just goes back in and it's going to cross over. At some point, I don't want to prune it at all, but while they're smaller like this, I should probably do that. And then again, we got one here. Just comes straight out of the trunk and goes right into this and this over here. Yeah, I'll probably take that off. You want to do that in winter when the diseases are down so they don't go into the wound. And I'm probably going to do that within a week or two. We got good weather coming up. It's going to rain, but it's going to be pretty warm out. Okay. I don't know if I even mentioned this. This one is 9'2" and 2 1/8 inch. And that's measured right about here. That's a good sized tree. And I believe, no, this isn't the one. One of these trees I took like a side branch off. Not quite like this. I don't like it where you have 3 branches like this. I don't even like 2, but I guess we'll let it go. All right, let's get some dimensions on this. This is a beautiful tree, though. Really nice shape to it. One of the best. Little Miss Maisie is grabbing a hold of the tree and kicking it. She wants to get attention. She'll probably climb it when I get over there. 12'6" and 3.5 inches at 2 feet. Really nice gnarly bark up through here. I just love these bur oaks. All right, let's go get Maisie's tree. This is the goofiest tree. And again, for those of you who haven't seen the previous videos, when I first planted this, it was just a skinny little thing, and it had this stuff at the top of it, and it got taller and just moved this stuff up. And then one year it shot up and put all that stuff on, but I mean, it's just wide open. There's nothing here. Really long twig and then a couple branches. Really long twig and a couple little branches. Just a weird tree. This may be one of the best looking trees at some point. I really can't say. Or it may die because it's sickly or something. I really don't know. It sure is tall though. All right, let's get a height on that. I'm sure you've heard this the entire time I've been out doing this, but they're logging on the other ridge over there. Yeah, it's starting to show the lack of trees over there. They've been logging there for a couple months now, and I've heard, I don't know, maybe 50 trees going down today, but I've heard that the same thing on a bunch of other days. They've taken hundreds and hundreds of trees out of there. All right. Buffalo grass right here. It's at the end of its first year. And we have big blue stem, little blue stem, and on the other side of that we have prairie drop seed. This summer, I'm going to take my sprayer and I'm going to spray a wide strip, probably to that tree right there. You could see the stake, which is 40 feet. I'm going to go from here all the way to the other end and kill this grass, and I'm going to plant native grasses all through here. Should be pretty cool. All right. I'm going to guess this one is a little under 12 and about 2.5 inches at 2 feet, but let's find out. Okay, this one is 12 feet tall and 2 3/4 at 2 feet. Which brings us to number 11. This one was severely bitten by our horse Blue. Oh, that was probably 3 years ago, could have been 4 years ago. These trees have been here for 5 years. They'll be going on their 6th year this coming spring. Planted them 5 years ago in, what was that, 2019. And they were in a horse pasture for a lot of that time. We just took out the fence this year. Okay. Yeah, so this one has always had this odd lean to it. I don't know if that's ever going to get better. These two were the biggest trees when I first planted them. Well, these two and the one at the very end. But these two were by far the biggest trees, and I planted them here to block the neighbor's house so we didn't have to see that. All right, so it looks like that up there is our highest point. So let's get a height on this thing. Yeah, that's a pretty good size around too. Okay, this one is 11'8". I do believe that this was the tallest tree for a little while, and then that one became the tallest tree. But so far this year, that goofy looking one back there is the tallest tree at 13 feet. This one isn't even 12 feet. There's a bunch of them bigger than that. Well, not a bunch, but there's several. 12 foot, 12 foot, 13 foot. This is 11 foot 8 inches, but it has a real nice trunk on it at 3 3/8. Almost the biggest trunk. We have a 3 1/2 over here. Mr. Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Okay, we got one more in this group of 12. Oh, I should mention, I made a video when I planted these, and I'll link that below. But I believe, what is it called? It's something to do with bare root. Planting bare root trees? Something like that. That is this tree right here that I'm planting in that video. The rabbit ravaged oak is right there. And it looks like it's a little over 6 feet tall. This one, this is number 12. This is a beautiful tree. I mean, it's got real nice spacing on all the branches. Just everything about this tree is really nice, and it has really corky bark, which is the trademark of the bur oak. It helps make it fireproof. Just has a really cool, gnarly look to it that I like. Okay, this is going to be close. Maybe the biggest, or it may be the second biggest, but it's right in there. Okay, statistically speaking, this is the tallest tree out of the 12 at 13 foot 1 inch. It beat the goofy looking one by that 1 inch. And the trunk is 3 1/4. So it's right in there with the biggest trunks, 3 1/2, 3 3/8, 3 1/4. The trunk is like really straight though. Yeah, I really like this tree. It doesn't have any splits where it's got 2 main trunks going up. Well, I guess it does at the top, but we'll see if it remains like that. All of these were like that too. You could see where it had 3 or 4 coming out at the beginning of the year, and then one goes up and these go out. I think that's what'll happen at the top too. At some point they just branch out at the top, but I don't think that's going to be for many years. Yeah, beautiful tree. Okay, this one did not have acorns on it this year. That's the one that had the acorns, the same one that I used. Knock it off. She's trying to get attention. I'm not paying attention to her, and she knows that I'm doing something with the trees, so that's how she gets attention. So that's the one I made the video of me planting these. That's the one that got bit up by the horses, and that's the one that was loaded with the acorns this year. And I have a brief acorn story to tell you when I'm done measuring, and then we'll wrap this up for this year. I'm going to get that one real quick, and then we have, I believe, 5 of them along the road. Those are going to go a lot quicker, and we'll be done. Okay, this is the rabbit ravaged oak. It is exactly 6 feet tall. All of this is from this year. Amazing. Okay, let's get to those other ones and wrap this up. It's going to be dark real soon. Not today, but yeah, tomorrow is the shortest day of the year. So it gets dark incredibly early. She just loves hunting back here with these patches of tall grass. She'll sit in them and wait for stuff to come along. There she goes. She's probably going to follow me. Okay. This tree here, for 2 years, it did absolutely nothing. It was the same tiny little thing with sickly looking leaves, and then I was going to take it out this year if it didn't start growing, and it must have heard the news and it started growing. Is that an acorn or is that a gall? I think it's a gall. Oh, got a couple here too. It's the first time I've seen galls on my own trees. Oh, another one here. Yikes. Okay, I think I'm just gonna get heights on these, and we'll call that the tallest. I'll probably come along and take one of these off. Again, I don't want forking, especially on something so small. You can see the old top is right here. The old top died, and it sent these two out. This one looks stronger than this one, so I'll probably shave that right through there and get rid of this bud right here, because that's going to want to do the same thing. Yeah, this is a problematic tree. All right, I'm going to go down and get all of the heights, and on the way back, I'll tell you what the heights are. This is tree number 5. It's 104 inches. Every tree along this gravel road right here has these little galls on them. I've yanked them off of all of the trees. That was the biggest cluster of them that I've seen, but they all had at least some. All right, so that one is 104, and then the next one is 102 or 112, and this one had, what, 3-4 acorns on it, but they did not look like bur oak acorns. I'm not sure on any of these trees whether they're bur oak or whether they're hybrids. They have kind of the characteristic of bur oaks here and there. This one really doesn't, but some of them do. You kind of have the bur oak bark right here, but for the most part, they don't look like bur oaks, and the leaves don't look like bur oak leaves. So next summer, when these leave out, we're going to try to identify these to see if they're a different tree altogether. I believe it might be, oh, what the heck was that, Schumacher oak or swamp white oak. These might be swamp white oak. So we'll have to see on that. It'd be a shame, but I guess it'd be all right. All right, number 3. And this one is 103 inches. And again, it's got like bur oak stuff going on right here. And there's a couple of them galls again. Put this stick down. Not sure what those are. There's galls that grow on a lot of the trees along the road right here, but they're a lot bigger than that, and they fall off. Like during the summer, they fall off. You'll find them on the road. Another thing I'll have to find out. Okay, this one is 11 foot 8 inches. This one just shot up in 1 year. It shot up like 4 feet. We'll look at it on the records, and I'll put that on screen. Yeah, there's one of them galls. Not sure what those are. There's another one. Interesting. But this shot up, like I said, maybe 4 feet. We'll have to look at the records, but you can see it's got all of these tiny little 8-inch branches, 6-inch, 8-inch, and a couple other branches, but it just doesn't look like the other trees. We're gonna have to see if they sent us the wrong stuff. They're gonna stay no matter what, but these don't really look all that bur oakish, except for right there. So they might be hybrids. And then back to this one again. Oh, and we have another gall. If any of you know what these are, you can see like a bug hole right there. If any of you know what these are, let me know. I know what oak galls are, but they're generally a lot bigger than this. They're like that big around, and I've seen them before. These, I don't know what they are. Such a beautiful day. It's too bad the sun isn't out very long. It'd be a wonderful day to do something. Okay, I am gonna have a few more videos on the trees this year. One of them is going to be pruning. We'll be pruning that one, and a couple over here, one behind the house. We're just gonna go around like this one right here. We're gonna be taking off this lower branch right here, and possibly this one right here. That one we took off 2 years ago. Look at how nice that's healing up. Beautiful. That one we took off last year. Oops, I almost forgot about this. These are the acorns. If you've been watching the videos, I'm sure you've seen these already. But we had a mouse eat through the bag and ate one of the acorns right there. And I didn't even see this until today. Ate one right there as well. I'm going to be germinating these probably, sometime in February. I want to get them potted. I don't want them to get too big before I have to get them outside. So, yeah, I'm going to wait a while. Pretty awesome, though. Okay, back to where I was about pruning the tree. Yeah, we'll be pruning this one, the one over there, and a few of the other ones around here. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.